From CBS 4, this is Haystack TV, powered by haystack-colorado.com. Finding reliable services can be like finding a needle in a haystack. With haystack-colorado.com, finding the needle just got a lot easier. Now, the host of Haystack TV, Chris Kane.
Today on Haystack TV, Memorial Day is right around the corner and police will be out in full force looking for drunk drivers. Jansen and Associates join us to talk about the serious consequences. Doctors may have told you there is no cure for the ringing in your ears. Today we speak with Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing. They tell us about a device that can help you tune out the ringing. And Jim Black Construction can help you with your property loss from start to finish. Ahead we'll see what sets Jim Black above the competition. Hello and thanks for watching. The first holiday weekend of the summer season is just a week away. That means camping trips, parties, barbecues, and lots of fun. But it's also a time when police are looking for drunk drivers who've made a bad decision. The team at Jansen and Associates wants you to avoid making a mistake, or else you need their services. Molly Jansen is the owner and partner of Jansen and Associates. Thanks for being here again today.
Thanks for having me.
And like we do with every company on Haystack TV and haystack-colorado.com, we do background checks. You've been through them a bunch, so I'll tell our viewers, though, what we know about you. Jansen and Associates are members of the Colorado and Denver Bar Association. You belong to the Colorado Criminal Defense Bar and the National College of DUI Defense Attorneys, and you have no complaints registered with the Better Business Bureau. So we're going to be talking about what's coming up here next week, Memorial Weekend, and the first of the big summer weekends and holidays, and it's one of the biggest weekends that you see people getting charged with DUIs.
Exactly.
What are some of the other big weekends?
4th of July, Labor Day, New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas, pretty much any major holiday tends to produce a lot of DUIs and DUIDs, driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
And really, people need to understand you should never drink and drive.
That is my number one goal every time I'm on here, is to tell people don't drink and drive. Don't even have one drink and drive. It's just not a good idea. So we start there, and hopefully we're getting that message across. The heat is on. People think that the heat is on only during those weekends, and that's simply not the case. The heat is on all the time, so people need to be cognizant of that. Just don't drink and drive. Don't smoke pot and drive. Stay away from that.
Right.
And so I think one thing that people really need to think about is the expense. You know, when you get charged with a DUI, it's going to cost you between $8,000 and $10,000. And I know a lot of people sort of have this idea that, well, if I cab it, it's going to cost me $100, $200 to get all the way downtown or wherever they're going. I ask people to stop for a moment and really think about that logic, because the $100 you're going to spend is a lot better than the $8,000 to $10,000 that you're going to spend if you get charged and not have a driver's license when you get home. So it's important to think about. No,
it really is. And we were talking before the show. You know, I don't get out that often, but I was out Saturday night, and I took a cab.
Right.
And it was expensive. It was $100. And I actually was considering, too, maybe even taking light rail. But people need to plan, because you know, the other thing was, I could have drove myself down there, but I knew that, I would have been making up excuses and when the night was over and drove, and I shouldn't do that. So you just can't.
Well, people leave their car, and then I hear this all the time. Well, I drove downtown and it was parked in a lot. What if it gets broken into? I don't want to leave my car. So then they're tempted to drive home, and the majority of the time, they do. And so one of the biggest lessons that a lot of my clients learn and tend to tell judges all the time is, just don't drive where you're going to go, and don't drink if you're going to drive. And so I really want to send that out there. They are looking for you to have one cocktail, one beer, whatever. And once that happens, you're in a world of hurt. And now you're looking at losing your license and getting attorneys and facing alcohol education classes. And so just use common sense and don't drive, and take a cab. And try and avoid it, because it is really a big issue once you get charged.
Right, and you can even lose your job over this. So I mean, you really do. Yeah, you really need to be careful, and you need to think ahead.
And jobs, they're getting savvy. Let me tell you, they are requiring people to have valid license, driver's licenses, even if they don't drive for their job, and they're running background checks, and they're requiring people to disclose this information. But for people who have commercial driver's licenses or drive for part of their job, you're gonna lose your job. And they're not going to work with you when you have an interlock device in your car, and they shouldn't have to. And
Right.
their insurance rates go up, and I don't think people really understand that consequence down the road. It's the immediate consequence, but it's also what am I going to do for a job, and how am I going to get a job if I don't have a license because of a DUI?
Right.
And it's so unfortunate, and it's so unnecessary. And so I send everyone out there with the goal: please, just don't do it. Just don't drink and drive.
Yeah, it's easy to avoid. You just
It
don't
really
do it.
is.
Yes.
Just don't do it. Just don't make the choice. And if you're going to go have cocktails with friends, don't drive there.
Yes.
Just don't do it. And so hopefully that is a message that every time I come on here, I keep trying to hammer because my phone is still ringing for issues that I really think that people can avoid. And a lot of people who have multiple DUIs, and now they're going to go to jail. So not only are they losing their license, now they're looking at going to jail. So if you have a family or responsibilities, that's something that's just really unavoidable.
If you do make a bad choice, you get behind the wheel, you do get pulled over and charged with a DUI,
Right.
what is the first step that you should take?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell people is don't do the roadsides. If you do get pulled over, they are voluntary. There's no reason to do them. You're not going to lose your license if you don't do a roadside. Those are simply walk the line, eye test, those kinds of things. Don't do that. But if you do get charged, you need to get on the phone with a lawyer. And that's number one, and get some information and get educated.
Yeah, because if you don't, I mean, you're looking at serious charges.
That's right.
And
Your license.
whatever you say, I mean, I've heard you say before, the less you say, the better too, because whatever you say,
Absolutely.
they're going to hold against you.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing the
Absolutely.
good information. And again, the message: don't drink and drive. We're going to tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jansen & Associates wants to ensure that you are represented fairly and informed about the charges against you before you make a bad decision. They're a criminal defense law firm handling everything from traffic offenses to DUI to major felonies. Call them at 303-832-5400 or visit their website at jansenlegal.com. They offer free consultations. The number again is 303-832-5400. Jansen & Associates paid for this segment. For some, that ringing in the ears just won't go away. Up next, we'll introduce you to an innovative technological device that may help out. And be sure to tune in every weekday from noon to 1 for Haystack Help Radio. We'll help you with your problems, questions, and complaints, find you reliable companies, and keep you informed on consumer topics. Haystack Help Radio airs every weekday from noon to 1 on 101.5 The Truth, Denver's FM Talk. We'll be right back.